and now moving from what we already have to what we will have. So our next speaker will be Philippe Dumont, CEO of EllaLink, and EllaLink was already today much talked about the new cable that's probably will be inaugurated. Okay, we have some even visuals. So cable that we understand will be inaugurated next week, yes? Yes. Philippe, so really would like us to present all that bright future that is coming to Portugal and to Europe, and please, the floor is yours.
Okay, so this is the bright past, not the bright future. This piece of cable has been recovered when we were laying EllaLink, and I think it's interesting for the audience. I mean, there's not so many people, but this is a cable that is dated 1897. That's quite a long time, and it's supposed to be the one that was connecting Carcavelos to Gibraltar. And I think there are a few guys in the place that might want to see that, okay? Just as an introduction, indeed, this industry is an old-timer. It's been invented by the English people, really, and they have covered the world in the years 1850 onwards, and this is a piece of the past. Okay. Now that I made my little buzz, I can start my conversation. Okay. I think there was a presentation. I don't know if... Okay. So you... Oh, right. I have that. Okay, so EllaLink is a cable that's starting in Portugal and linking directly South America for the first time. It's a bit strange to say for the first time. It's like if you wanted to go to Sao Paulo, you would need first to land in Atlanta and then take a plane to Sao Paulo, and there would be no other options. The fact in the matter is the network is a lot US-centric for many reasons, okay? But Europe is the beast into that. And it's probably not known to many people, but 50% of the communication in and out, I'm talking about international communication, as per Telegeography, was one of the key analysts here. 50% of the traffic gets in and out of Europe, and that's far most of whatever is getting out of Asia, and more than what is getting in and out of North America. Okay, and that's important to say. Europe is a important, if not the #1, place for data traffic. The traffic is growing at the rate of 35% per year. That's enormous. That's not so common to any industry. And that's more or less across any geographies. And we do expect that probably the next growing, #1 growing place will be Africa and South America. In that sense, Europe being #1, Portugal is probably the #1 place to take advantage of that with regard to the geography, the position they have, and I think we've already covered this. So, okay. I think someone from DECEX one day said, latency is the new currency. Okay, latency means technically the speed at which the communication goes from one point to the other. And it's like a car on a highway or a car on a small road. Basically, if you take the small road, the scenery might be more interesting, but you're gonna arrive later. The advantage of EllaLink compared to the existing routes is that it's directly connecting Europe to Latin America. The difference is substantial. We're talking dividing by 2 the speed at which you're sending information. And in today's world, it is extremely important. The past was about connecting cities. Why? Because the traffic was made of voice. It was not made of data. Today, what the cables are doing is that they're connecting data centers. data center to data center. The city is not so much of importance because the city will be connected at the edge to the data centers. What EllaLink does with latency is really creating the condition for these two continents, Europe and Latin America, to work together, collaborate, and develop an industry. Our cable is landing in Brazil in Fortaleza. You probably don't see the numbers here. Fortaleza is an enormous hub for submarine cable. Lots of people know that. I think there are more than 10, I think 11, 13? 14 cable arriving. Well, yeah, Portugal is far from that number for the moment. Okay? 10. Yeah, but Fortaleza, it's all arriving in one place. Okay? And why is it so important? It's important because by concentrating submarine cable to a place, then you are giving the condition for the rest of the industry to develop. And the rest of the industry is data centers. It's quite obvious. And this is what we're trying to achieve at this moment. And I think this little chart is very interesting. We always tend to look at the map with the Mercator view, right? And if people forget that when you are located in Sines, Lisbon, that does not really matter, okay? You are 60 milliseconds from Fortaleza, which is, as we said, a very important hub in the subsea world, but you're also very close, I mean, that's about the same distance from Ashburn. I mean, people don't know Ashburn. You don't know Ashburn. You may not know Virginia Beach, which is the beach close to Ashburn. And Virginia Beach is basically the point of depart for all the new cables that are being built by the OTT at this moment. Okay? And that's interesting to note here that Sines, Lisbon, whatever, is closer to any point on the European map. And that's an advantage that can be developed. Just need to be convinced and put the right conditions on the table. Okay, I will not comment that slide. There are many slides. This one is interesting as well. I said it already, and from a geographical perspective, again, I mean, people say it always, but it is a very, very, very important aspect. Portugal is at the crossroad of several continents. I said North America from Ashburn, that's 60 milliseconds. From Fortaleza, Latin America, that's 60 milliseconds. But that's also all the west coast of Africa. All the west coast of Africa, which is probably the new hype market for data in the next 20, 30 years, for sure. When you start an industry of subsea cable, you need cables, of course, you need a CLS, but you do also need a very solid backhaul, because cables, networks needs to be interconnected. That's very, very important. In EllaLink, we've addressed that, making sure that the station will be connected to Lisbon. In Lisbon, we have one solid open data center provider, which is called Equinix, okay? Which does one thing. It enables our customers to connect to a cable through a data center, which is not ours, but where they usually already are. So the cost of connecting to a cable is minimal. We're connecting to Madrid. Madrid is, I think, one of the most important growing places today in Europe, frankly speaking. We talk about Marseille. It's true, it's growing a lot, and it continues to grow. That's an established fact. Madrid, look at what the announcements on data center have been over the past 6 months. It's amazing. Amazon, Microsoft, Google, I think. Yeah, all of them are starting to build massive data centers. The ability of the coast of Portugal to be connected to Madrid through solid, diverse fiber optic network is very, very important. I'll pass that one. Now, let's look at EllaLink, because EllaLink is not a cable that has been built on the money of the over-the-top players, the GAFAM. Okay, it's a private initiative, and the private initiative needs usually two types of sponsors or money. The money comes from the customers and from the shareholders. So let's look at the shareholders, because they're quite special. It's a infrastructure fund, a private fund. Okay, well, a private fund, they need return, they're very greedy, maybe, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we have all these little picture about what it could be. Well, Margaret is a very special fund. The #1 investor in Margaret is EIB. #1. They represent most probably 50% of the fund, that are the money that is being brought into the fund. The rest of the money is coming from other countries. And you have here, you have ICO out of Spain, CDC, Caisse des dépôts et consignations. We have the Polish bank, we have Italy, we have Germany. They all pour money into Margaret, with Margaret to have one objective: develop the infrastructure in Europe. And EllaLink was fitting that into that objective. The second source of money for a private cable is customer. That's very important. That's the base of everything, in fact. Okay, and the first customer that was supporting was Bella. We talked about it in the previous session. Bella being a consortium made of Géant and Red Clara Research and Education Networks, which signed a 25 million euro check to us, and that was a very important decision for EllaLink. Without them, this cable would not have happened. Okay, that's again European money, like Marguerite is. The second was on the list, or the first, maybe it depends on the time at which we signed the contract, was Emacom. Emacom out of Madeira, Portugal, and then CVT, Cape Verde, and then after Mauritania and Telsius. Telsius being an international organization which has its roots in Spain with Telefonica, and is now operating one of the largest network, South American and Atlantic network in the world. Okay, I'll pass that one. Just to remember one thing, maybe. Cables are always about project and companies. We always say this, right? We talk about companies, but in fact, it's about people, right? Without the people, it would not be anything. And building a cable like this is far more complicated. I think I know what I'm talking about here than any other cable from a consortium based or from the money coming from OTTs, even though it can be extremely complicated as well. But money is not always the issue in that case. Okay, this is the connectivity of the cable. And what's interesting here is that, of course, we're sending traffic to Brazil, to Fortaleza, right? But we also have a substantial amount of branching units that stop on the way to Brazil. Of course, we said already Emacom, Funchal, okay, in Madeira. We also mentioned Cape Verde with Praia, okay? But there are three other branching units in the middle, which is Casablanca, Morocco, which should be laid in the second half of 2022. Commercially speaking. You probably are one of the first people to know about that. And then after we have Mauritania, which we hope to land very quickly, and Canary Island, which we are working on. This is connectivity. A cable like this one, what's important is not so much the capacity, even though it's substantial, and I'll come to that. What is important is connectivity. If you have many cables passing by your coast and they're not stopping, it's like looking at a train in the campaign, okay, and not enjoying it because it does not stop. Connectivity is more important than capacity. Capacity of a cable, well, This cable in Sines will be by far the largest that has been seen for years. We estimate now the capacity of the EllaLink cable landing in Sines to 190 terabits per second, which is gigantic. Okay? And that's thanks to the design. It does compare to any of the cables that we land in the future, for sure. Plenty of capacity, yes. Lots of connectivity. And with the understanding that a cable like this one will last for 25 years. So if you increase capacity by 40% or 30% per year, this is what you need. 200 gigabit of capacity today will be in 25 years. I made the calculation. I think it was around 700 times more. 700 times more. So you need to plan. Planning is very important in submarine cable. Okay. Sines. Sines is a new landing in Portugal. There are not so many new landings. We have a new one in Portugal that has come. I'm looking for Norman. He's going to speak most probably about it. That's very important. When a new CLS is created, that's new opportunity for cable to land. And this is extremely, extremely important. Sines is new, and why did we select Sines? Well, look at it. There is plenty of land, easy to build, and you have 1 gigawatt of power here, arriving here. 1 gigawatt of power. Show me another place in Portugal where you have that. There is not. There is not. And that's very important. If Portugal is serious about developing digital infrastructure, it needs to concentrate somewhere its digital industry. And we believe, people may not agree with that, and there may be other options, but we believe that Sines is the best place in Portugal to do that. And this is why we launched the concept of Sines Tech, which recently had an echo with what is now called Sines 4.0. That's the same thing. Hello. Yeah, I see our friend of Sines 4.0. That's exactly the same thing. You need to concentrate your infrastructure in one place. Look at Fortaleza, look at Marseille, Singapore, Taiwan, Hong Kong. Guam at this moment is starting to be a big up. Okay? There is no other way. If you start to localize all your landing and data center all over Portugal, you won't exist in the map, even though you are extremely well placed on the world map, geographically speaking. Fortaleza, I'll pass. Time's up. I think I'm finished. Thank you.